Today we're diving into one of the most powerful stories in all of Scripture. A story about character when it's put to the ultimate test. It's a story of temptation, of deep injustice, but also of a faithfulness that just shines brightest when things are at their darkest. We're in Genesis chapter 39, looking at a truly pivotal moment in the life of Joseph.
Right here, at the very beginning of the chapter, we get this foundational statement. Honestly, this one verse is the key that unlocks the entire story. It's a theme that we're going to see over and over again. It's the one thing that never changes, anchoring Joseph through incredible success and, well, the absolute lowest of lows.
So to really get what's happening, you have to remember where Joseph just came from. He wasn't born a slave. He was Jacob's favorite son. He was sold into this life by his own jealous brothers. And now here he is in a foreign land, serving in the house of Potiphar, who's a big deal, the captain of Pharaoh's guard. Talk about a staggering fall from grace.
But, despite being a slave in a place completely foreign to him, something truly remarkable starts to happen. And it all flows from that one central fact we just talked about. The Lord was with him. And this wasn't some hidden internal feeling. It was about to become obvious to everyone around him. See, Joseph's integrity and God's blessing on him were not some secret. It was so evident that his master, an Egyptian, mind you, who didn't worship Joseph's God, he could see it plain as day. Everything Joseph touched just seemed to prosper, and it gets even better. Potiphar's entire household was blessed simply because Joseph was there.
So his rise within the household was just astronomical. He goes from being a brand new slave to the overseer of the entire house, and then he's entrusted with everything Potiphar owned. The trust was so complete that the scripture says Potiphar didn't worry about a single thing he had except for the food he ate. That's an incredible level of responsibility for a slave.
But of course, this favor, this incredible success, it leads directly to a major test. And it's not a public test of his skills. No, it's a private battle for his integrity, one that's fought behind closed doors, where only he and his tempter would know what really happened.
Now, the persistence of this temptation is so key. The text makes it really clear this wasn't a one-time thing. It says she spoke to him day by day. This was a relentless, daily pressure campaign, basically designed to wear him down and break his resolve.
So this brings us to the core of the issue, right? Joseph is faced with a choice that, on the surface, could actually benefit him. He could secure his position, or at the very least, just get this daily harassment to stop. Nobody else is watching. Potiphar is out. What's he going to do?
And his answer, wow, it is so revealing. He starts by honoring his master Potiphar, sure, but his ultimate reason for refusing isn't about the fear of getting caught. His final line of defense is theological. He says, how then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God? His primary concern, his deepest allegiance, was to his relationship with God.
So Joseph does the right thing. He literally runs from temptation. But his integrity comes at a terrible, immediate cost. And he's about to learn a really hard lesson, that in our fallen world, doing what's right doesn't always lead to an instant reward.
And the sequence of events is it's swift and it's devastating. In this desperate moment, she grabs his cloak. He flees to maintain his purity, and she uses that very cloak as false evidence. She tells her lie. Potiphar's anger flares up, and Joseph is thrown into the king's prison. He goes from trusted servant to condemned criminal in an instant.
This is the very definition of injustice. And it's the harsh reality Joseph was now facing. He was punished severely, not for a crime he had committed, but for the very sin he had refused to commit. It's just brutal.
But even here, in the darkness and probably the filth of an ancient Egyptian prison, that central theme of the chapter, that constant refrain, it shows up again. And it just shows us that God's presence, His favor, it doesn't depend on our circumstances. And there it is again. In the face of complete injustice, we read, "But the Lord was with Joseph." These might be some of the most powerful and hopeful words in all of Scripture. This statement proves that no prison, no false accusation, no depth of despair can separate someone who is faithful from the presence of God.
And unbelievably, the exact same pattern from Potiphar's house repeats itself, but this time in prison. Joseph's character, his integrity, and God's blessing on him just shine through so clearly that the head jailer entrusts everything to him. And once again, whatever Joseph did, the Lord made it prosper.
This contrast is really the heart of the whole story. If you just looked at Joseph's external situation, you'd see a slave, a prisoner, someone whose life was totally ruined. But his internal reality, the spiritual truth, was that he was blessed, he was trusted, and he was a leader, all because the Lord was with him.
So what does this all boil down to? What's the ultimate takeaway? Well, through prosperity in Potiphar's house and persecution in Pharaoh's prison, Joseph lived his life for an audience of one. His choices weren't dictated by his situation or by who was watching, they were dictated by his unwavering commitment to God alone.
And so, Joseph's story leaves us with a really important question for our own lives. When we're faced with a choice, especially a choice made in private, who is our ultimate audience? Does our character hold up when we think no one else is watching?